So I'm Ellen Voy. I'm the president and CEO of the Women in Trucking Association. And I've been doing this panel for a number of years. And the purpose of the panel is to let you ask a lot of questions to the panelists, questions that you might have of what it's like to be a woman in the expediting industry or what it's like to be a driver. It doesn't have to be just focused on women's issues. But I'm going to do a little commercial for Women in Trucking Association first. We're a nonprofit association, and our mission is to increase the percentage of women employed in the trucking industry. And whether that means women who design the trucks, build the trucks, fix the trucks, own the trucks, drive the trucks, sell the trucks, it doesn't matter. It's all women in the industry. So we're women in trucking. We've got about 4,000 members, mostly in North America, but we've got a few around the world, which is kind of exciting. And I get to go to Vietnam in September and talk to them. The Asia Pacific Council is trying to get more women in transportation, and so fully expense paid. It's not. We are a nonprofit, so. But our goal is threefold. Our mission is threefold: to encourage the employment of women in the trucking industry, to address obstacles that might keep women from succeeding or entering the industry, and to celebrate success. So when we celebrate success, we have our Salute to Women Behind the Wheel. Have any of you been to that? I know you ladies have. So we have a huge event, and it's at Saturday at the Mid-America Trucking Show. And if you have a CDL, I don't care what class it is, then you're eligible to come in and you'll get a t-shirt, you'll get a bag filled with goodies. We have a cake that's almost as long as these 4 chairs. We have chocolate fountains. And this year, we'll be giving away a truck. In March, it'll be March 24th of 2018, Aero Truck Sales has donated a late model Volvo that we'll be giving away to one of our members as well. So addressing obstacles, entry into a truck. We also have a scholarship foundation where we give scholarships to members, or you don't even have to be a member, but anyone looking for a career in transportation in 4 areas: safety, technical, driving, or leadership. And leadership is pretty broad. So that could be advancing your career inside the company. We have an Influential Woman in Trucking Award. We have a Distinguished Woman in Logistics Award. We work with the truck stops on safety, security, and amenities. If you stop at TA Petros and you see their big shower heads and orange fluffy towels, that's because of our members have asked for that. We work with the truck cab designers, and I'm really proud of that. They are really listening. Our members have said what they'd like to see different in trucks, and whether it's the dash closer, pedals, flexibility. I always point to Linda and her husband, who are teams. And so we're not designing a truck for women. I just want to make sure you understand that. We feel that Linda should be just as comfortable in her truck as her 6'4" husband. So it's all about adaptability. And we're also asking them to consider putting in a security alarm system. Members have asked why they couldn't put carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors in the trucks, and they said, we never thought about it. So when we bring that to their attention, you're going to see some changes. Peterbilt just announced that they're putting a porta potty in the passenger, where the passenger seat is. So yeah, they're listening. They're listening. So some of those things, we found out that the Boy Scouts had a transportation patch, so we decided that the Girl Scouts needed one. We worked with the Greater Chicago, Northern Indiana Girl Scout region and created the curriculum and designed the patch. So over 400 young girls have learned about careers in transportation so far and have earned our transportation patch. And I am working on a doll because my daughter and her husband had a baby about a year ago, and I have been looking for girls or toys, transportation-related toys. And so we are creating a doll that's a truck driver, and she's really cute. It says "I Heart Trucking" on her shirt. So those are some of the things, because we really do need to create awareness to those outside the industry. The exciting thing about the Girl Scouts is that when I go in and talk to them, and I talk to these little girls, I'll say to them, so you go out to the field and you look at the grain. How does that grain get to the bakery? And they're like, oh, a truck. And how does it go from the bakery to the packaging? A truck. How does it go from packaging to distribution? And then who's the final mile? The little Girl Scout. So we want Girl Scouts to look at a semi or an expediting truck, any size truck on the road, and say, that could be my Girl Scouts that I'm going to be delivering to the customer next week. So we want them to relate the trucking industry to their lives as well. So little pitch about women in trucking. What I'm going to do is have each of you just introduce yourself, say how long you've been in the expediting business and what you do, and we're going to start by showing you how much wisdom we have up here. Sandy, start with you, Sandy.
Sandy Goshi. I've been about a year and maybe 8 months now driving. I was an owner before that for about 2 years before that. So I got approximately 4 years knowledge. So I'm the least knowledgeable of these.
Least experienced maybe, but we won't say least knowledgeable. Linda?
I actually got my CDL in the early 80s in the oil field, and I was just a fill-in driver. My husband was a mechanic. And then when the girls left home, Bob and I decided to become drivers. So we've been team driving for 13 years. We first started out in the tractor-trailer world, discovered that was not for us to be drivers, and came into expediting as owners. And really, expediting is the only place to be.
And Linda has served on the Women in Trucking Board of Directors. Our bylaws require that we have a driver on the board, and so Linda served 6 years.
Yeah, the maximum time.
Yeah.
It was fun. They threw me off.
No. We didn't throw her off. Not at all. We have term limits.
Yes.
As our government should.
Yes. Exactly. Donna?
I'm Donna Sleesman. I have been driving for 37 years. I've been in expediting for 18 years. I am a fleet owner. I've been a fleet owner now for about 5 years, I guess it is. And I'm with you. There's nothing like expediting. I pray every day, God, don't make me go back to tractor trailers. And also, don't ever make me get a real job. So,
Yeah.
There you go.
So what I'm going to do is I've got some prepared questions, but I want this to be very interactive. But I'm going to make sure that we stay on the topic. I mean, sometimes someone will mention something, and then the whole subject goes in another direction, like what's air tabs or something. So I'm going to keep us on track because I really want you to learn about their careers and about some of the challenges that they have faced and overcome. But I'm going to start out with what challenges do you face as women that might be different than for men? And Donna, I'm going to start with you.
Well, a lot of challenges that you have are self-made. I always say this, I am not a woman truck driver. I'm a truck driver. And as soon as you start classifying yourself, you're already stepping backwards. So if you don't have to act like a man or look like a man, but you do the job because it's the job you do. And that's how I overcome any obstacles that may come into play.
So I agree. I mean, the dock and the steering wheel could care less if you're a man or a woman. The big difference to me, and because I used to get hit, was why do we have women in trucking? It's the same job. We're both doing it. But I know Bob goes about the job much differently than I do. I mean, I like to beat a problem to death. Bob likes to just move on. We also finesse the truck differently. I'm a lot more careful with the truck. Bob's just going to go through it and get through it. So women just do the same job. We just do it a little bit different. And I think we do it really nicely.
Can I make a comment? I have a comment for that. I asked him, do you know the difference between a woman truck driver and a man truck driver? A woman will say, this truck will not go there. A man will go, damn, I sure she'd fit.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the difference right there.
Well, women are more risk averse. So accidents involving women are at slower speeds, so there's less loss of life and less damage to the equipment. So we do know that. And what carriers tell me is that women are typically better with paperwork, typically better with customers. And I'm saying typically because I'm not painting a wide brush. Right, there's no absolutes. Typically better with customers, typically better with the equipment, and typically better with paperwork. That's what carriers tell me. 10 years ago, when I started Women in Trucking, they'd say, I don't care if it's a male or female. Now they're coming to me saying, help me get more females. Help me get more females, Ellen. We really want more women in this industry because we love how they drive, how they think, how they're risk averse. And so my response, like to what Linda said when people say, why do you need women in trucking? I'll say to them, if you're happy with 7% of the driving population as women when 50% of the working population is women, if you're happy with that 7%, then don't support us. But if you think that we can change those numbers, that's what we're trying to do. So then support us. So, but yeah. All right, Sandy.
My biggest obstacle is crawling back into the back of the truck without being on a dock. because my step ladder that I use to crawl into the back of the truck is in the truck, so you have to crawl into the truck to get the step ladder to
You need
get
a
the.
lift gate.
So
Your own elevator.
Yes, but other than that, I have not found any obstacles. Having worked in government contracting for a while, I was used to being in a world where men were the dominant force for a long time, but more and more women are coming in. It's the same thing in trucking. I haven't had any problems.
Do you remember, this was a number of years ago, and I asked the panel, have you ever experienced a danger in a truck stop? And the response from all the women was no. And this guy, he was like 6'6" and like 300 pounds, he stood up, he goes, I've been mugged 3 times. and you know why? Because women are more situationally aware. You're not walking between. You know, you're situationally aware because that's the way we're programmed. We're always looking around for anything that might be of danger.
A guy that's big like that doesn't think anybody's going to address him.
But three
But my
times?
thing is he's trying to pick up the wrong guy.
It was funny in that because the room was full, and the only ones that had problems, there was 3 different men that said they had problems in a truck stop, and every woman was like, no.
There's something in our brains called the amygdala, and women will activate, and it's our fear. It's the fear hormone, or whatever, maybe not a hormone, but it's when you activate the amygdala, it's your fear sensor. And women will activate it much more quickly than men. So again, there's another difference. And that was just a gut instinct. You didn't see anything out there.
Not one thing
You're
in that
just like,
parking
there's
lot.
something not right here.
And like I said, I've been there before. I mean, there's places I go. There are places that I'll pull into, and right now I find that I actually have gone from my Expediter trucks. I got my other ones in there. I have teams in those. I've gone to an Expediter van, which is a BR unit, and I find in that I am much more, and maybe I'm just getting older or whatever, but I get that feeling more often. But because I think I park out front with the cars, I'm not out back with my boys, you know, because I know that if something goes on, I
agree.
have someone to go. When I'm parked out front there, I just have that, you know, and I don't have that height. Because I always felt that I always had the high ground. If somebody tries to get in my truck, I got high ground on them.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to have to step on my vehicle to get in. It's going to move, and I'm going to know it. So I find that I am a little more overly cautious now that I'm with my van than I was with my straight
Interesting.
trucks.
I didn't mention this, but at our Salute to Women Behind the Wheel next year, we've hired Debbie Gardner.
Oh, good.
And Debbie Gardner,
She's high energy.
well, actually, I'm going to let Linda talk about, because yesterday on my way here, I called her and said, why don't we have you do a session before the salute? So tell them what Debbie Gardner Survive Institute.
So, like you, I don't worry about walking. I'm aware of the situation, and I went to that because Ellen did. We went to the conference, which is the most amazing conference ever. It's a Women in Trucking conference, and it's bringing everybody together from CEOs to drivers to the forklift drivers. But one of the sessions was Debbie, and she was a former police officer, and she talked about what it's like to be a police officer, but she also talks about how to defend yourself. And she said so many things that I'd never thought of, and one of them was you can't scream. If you get scared, and as women we're polite, and she said you suck in your air, and all of a sudden you've lost your voice. And so she really talks to you about how to defend yourself, and how to quit being polite and get killed. And when somebody gets into your personal space, what you need to do immediately without thinking. And she is the most amazing speaker that made you think about the fact we're going to get killed because we're too dang nice.
Well, and she talks about something called Feel the Love. So how many of you are moms? Okay, if somebody grabbed your kid in a parking lot, what would you do? You'd kill him, okay? You would protect your child. Well, what Debbie Gardner talks about is if we're grabbed in a parking lot,
We're polite.
well, or maybe if somebody's near us, we're not as conscious or whatever, but what she says is think about your kids. If something happens to you, your kids won't have your mama. So you act like you're a mama bear and you kill as if they were grabbing your kids. And she says, picture your children, picture your family, picture your spouse.
And she also talks about, though, if you're too scared of how you need to scream.
Yeah.
And it was funny because she lost her voice. She was in a situation where she was going to die.
Yeah.
And she had no voice. It turned back into a woman instead of a police officer.
Right.
And a man had to save her butt because she didn't handle it right. And
Right.
it was such a fascinating story. I was like, I would do that.
So I recommend if you can make it to the Mid-America Trucking Show, there's no charge. We don't charge for anything. You just come and enjoy it. Louisville, Kentucky, at the Mid-America Trucking Show. We always have our event on Saturdays, so I decided to have Debbie Gardner come in for a 2-hour session prior to our salute. And this year we're giving away the truck, so I anticipate quite a... But Debbie Gardner also talks about using your phone.
And when, what is it?
March 24th. Yeah. So it's the Saturday. We always have our salute on the Saturday of the Mid-America Trucking Show. But this year I just decided, let's have Debbie Gardner come in, and that way people can learn
It's for
self-defense.
men and women.
Yeah, it's for men and women,
it's
yeah. It's not a women's thing. Her husband comes with her, so it's Debbie and Mike Gardner that do that. But yeah, I just thought, why don't we help empower women and teach them some techniques? And it's not just about self-defense, it's about handling yourself and
How to walk across the parking lot.
Yeah.
I mean, how to walk with confidence, how to look around you. It was
pretty
an
fascinating.
eye-opener.